Join me as I dig deep into the Paris Olympics closing ceremony to understand the hidden messages and their significance. Behind the glitz and glamour of the Olympics lies a carefully crafted narrative. Welcome to Possibility Plus Living. Today we're diving deep into the Paris Olympics closing ceremony. While some saw a spectacle of music and performance, others perceived a message encouraging people to turn away from their faith. We'll examine the symbolism, explore reactions, and analyze whether there's truly a hidden agenda beneath the surface. Please like, share, and subscribe to our channel. At first, the 2024 Paris Olympics closing ceremony appeared to be much less anti-Christian than the opening ceremony, but in reality it was not. It used imagery and scenes that have been interpreted as satanic and opposed to Christianity. The opening ceremony's Last Supper depiction was deemed to be blasphemous and a mockery of Christianity, and it set the stage for more closely scrutinizing the closing ceremony's symbolism. The closing ceremony was orchestrated by artistic director Thomas Joly and executive director Thierry Reboul. Joly was also responsible for the opening ceremony, which featured the blasphemous portrayal of the Last Supper. The website Variety.com stated, "Joly, whose opening ceremony show triggered praises from many, but also criticism from conservatives due to a scene that seemed to mock the Last Supper, created an operatic and dystopian show highlighting the origins and values of the Olympics." Like the opening ceremony that celebrated love and inclusion, the closing bash had a similarly progressive message, with Reboul saying it would use science fiction to raise awareness about the fact that our world is fragile and we need to preserve our values. The artistic director stated that the show was meant to take spectators on a journey through time, exploring the foundations of humanity and a tribute to the creation of the Games and their revival by Pierre de Coubertin, the father of the modern Olympic Games in the late 19th century. However, Russia's foreign ministry spokeswoman, Maria Zakharova, has been quoted by Newsweek as saying that the only thing worse than the opening of the Olympic Games in Paris could be their closing. They also report her as saying that there were religious overtones, that there was the obvious Satanism, and that France did not miss this chance. They said the comments were made through her Telegram channel. The show featured the main character as a figure dressed in a golden armor-like suit with a spiked headdress, who is being referred to as the Golden Voyager. This was said to be tied to the Voyager Golden Records, two identical phonograph records that NASA launched aboard the 1977 Voyager spacecrafts. The figure descended into the stadium from the roof and came upon a headless figure, which looked like the depiction of an angel, said to be Nike, the Greek goddess of victory, and an astronaut. After he descended, the hymn to Apollo was played. The golden figure was then raised upwards in a ring structure said to represent the 5 Olympic rings by some grey beings with large eyes. The beings in grey were said to be worshipping the Golden Voyager, who some believe represented the devil or Apollo. The golden figure exited the ring and was raised and passed along by the grey-clad figures whose heads were bowed. Finally, they held him above their heads like a victor as he stared at the headless statue. The next scene showed a glowing orange and black grand piano rising from the ground and suspended in mid-air. A piano player dressed in black feathers rose with it. It seemed to represent the mythical phoenix, a bird said to be immortal and that regenerates cyclically. Some connected it to the French band Phoenix, which performed in the ceremony. Some interpreted the scene to be a depiction of Satan rising from the ashes like a phoenix to control mankind. Over the years, different media have been used to sensitize people to evil and to make it appear glamorous and acceptable. People are now more aware and informed, so it is more difficult to pull the wool over their eyes. Viewers expressed their opinions and interpretations of the hidden messages and symbolism on social media platforms. Even though there were different interpretations, they saw the closing ceremony as an overwhelmingly negative display. People also expressed concern about the restrictions on religious freedom, while being told that it was to create inclusivity and love. Many labeled the 2024 Olympic Games as the worst they have seen in their lifetime. Other factors, such as the accommodation and the food provided for athletes, contributed to the controversies surrounding the Games. It was reported that some athletes were told they were not allowed to speak about their faith or display religious symbols, even though the International Olympic Committee has no such rules. MSN.com alleged that Brazilian surfer João Chianca was told to remove the depiction of Jesus from his surfboard. Raissa Leal, an Olympic skateboarder from Brazil, was warned that she could not mention Jesus on the microphone during her interview by a French TV station. She used sign language instead to communicate the powerful message, Jesus is the way, the truth, and the light. That was clever of her, but it is outrageous that she had to resort to doing that. Athletes glorified Jesus with praise and worship. Just like Daniel and the 3 Hebrew boys in Babylon, there were Christian athletes there who held to their faith. In Daniel chapter 3, the Hebrews were told to worship the gods, or golden image in Babylon, but they refused to do so even when threatened. They were thrown into a fiery furnace, which was heated 7 times hotter than usual, but they still refused to bow to the image and pagan gods. The Bible said not a hair on their heads was singed, their clothes did not burn, and they did not smell of smoke. With all that was happening at the Paris Olympics, there were athletes there giving glory to God. Athletes from several countries worshipped together. The team from Fiji held praise and worship sessions, and individual athletes got the message out when they were interviewed. Even though some media houses removed references to Jesus or God before publication, the messages still got out. Matthew chapter 5 verse 14, King James Version reads, "Ye are the light of the world. A city that is set on an hill cannot be hid. Neither do men light a candle and put it under a bushel, but on a candlestick, and it giveth light unto all that are in the house. Let your light so shine before men that they may see your good works and glorify your Father which is in heaven." The worship sessions of the athletes, the outcry and the prayers of Christians worldwide sent a strong message to the forces of darkness, and we must continue to pray. Many persons have decried both the opening and closing ceremonies through various social media platforms. This includes non-Christians who have seen certain symbolisms in the ceremonies which they consider to be evil. Many believe that the closing ceremony was about satanic rituals and the glorification of Satan, and encouraged the worship of pagan gods. Many posters on social media had one common observation. The show was about the people of God being subjugated by the devil, and to get them to believe that lie. Grounded Christians know that the devil tries to parade as an angel of light, but he is the father of lies and darkness. The London 2012 Olympics and others had symbolisms also. If there are no hidden messages or agenda, why is there so little information given to explain the scenes that were played out? People are now more aware of the different methods being used to try to ensnare and lure them away from God. It began with the first Olympics in Greece and will probably continue until Jesus Christ comes. It is not going to get better. We are moving towards the days when religious freedom will be a thing of the past and persecution will be rampant. It is gradually being ramped up in some traditionally Christian countries. Revelation chapter 12 describes what will happen in the last days. Verse 9 states, "The great dragon was hurled down, that ancient serpent called the devil or Satan, who leads the whole world astray. He was hurled to the earth, and his angels with him." It tells us in verse 11 what happened to the believers. They triumphed over him by the blood of the Lamb and by the word of their testimony. They did not love their lives so much as to shrink from death. The spirit of Antichrist is in the world, and eventually the Antichrist himself will be revealed. If we believe the Bible, then we know that the Antichrist will come. He has not yet been revealed, but the spirit of Antichrist is already here. 1 John chapter 4 verses 2 to 3 tells us how to recognize it. This is how you can recognize the Spirit of God. Every spirit that acknowledges that Jesus Christ has come in the flesh is from God, but every spirit that does not acknowledge Jesus is not from God. This is the spirit of the Antichrist, which you have heard is coming, and even now is already in the world. We should not be perturbed about what is happening. However, we need to be alert to the tricks of the enemy. Please like, share, and subscribe to our channel.